A backhand flick into the net. Have you ever encountered this situation? Your backhand flicks always go into the net. Let me tell you how to do the flick properly. The racket head must face downward. As the racket head points down, the wrist must be pulled in. If the wrist isn't pulled in, the racket head will turn to the left. Check if your racket head is pointing to the left during your flicks. If so, no matter how much force you use, the ball will go into the net. See, this is the racket head position. The backhand flick is essentially a wrist rotation motion. If the racket head points left, the wrist rotation angle is limited to only 90 degrees. Only when the racket head faces down can the wrist create enough friction with the ball. This kind of flick is stable and spinny. Using this racket angle for flicking makes it hard to control the ball. Now look at the flick with the racket head down. The wrist rotation angle is greater, and the ball control time is longer. This naturally creates an arc. This is the first key point for the backhand flick. The racket head should face down. To keep the racket head down, the wrist must be pulled in, and only by raising the elbow can the wrist pull in properly. So raising the elbow is a key factor. It's the same for left-handed players. If the racket head points to the right, it will go into the net. Now see the flick with the racket head down? It can still go over. Even the left-handed flick can go over with the correct angle. So keeping the racket head down is crucial. It's the same for a pen hold grip. If the racket head points left, you can't flick properly. It won't work with the racket head down. As long as the racket head points down, the success rate of the flick goes up. Look, I'm not doing any other motions. I'm just flicking with the racket head down, and the success rate immediately improves. If your flicks are still going into the net with the racket head down, then where's the problem? The racket head is down, but I still end up flicking into the net. It still goes into the net. What should I do? The second key point in this video, flicking from the side. Flicking from the front often leads to the ball going into the net. If you flick like this, it easily ends up in the net. Flicking from the side. This is the side as well. Flicking from the side helps prevent netting. Flicking from the front often nets. The reason flicking from the front leads to netting is that the incoming ball is already dipping, and in close to table play, you have limited control over the ball. Now look at the effect of flicking from the side. When I flick from the front, it goes into the net. I use the same motion, but flick from the side. Now I'm flicking from the left side, and it clears the net smoothly. By flicking from the side, you avoid the spin. You don't confront the ball's spin directly. Achieving this purpose is key. Flicking from the front feels the spin. Directly facing the spin often nets the ball, so we need to avoid the spin's intensity and approach it from the side. Watch my movement here. Flicking from the front often nets. Now flicking from the side. Watch as I use the same motion to flick from the side. It smoothly clears the net. I didn't do anything different here. Just flicked from the side. It easily clears the net. If you've mastered the first 2 points and still net the ball, what could be the reason? As mentioned earlier, a backhand flick is a wrist rotation process. So how do you get power in your wrist at this point? You need to first relax, then store power, then release it. If you still end up netting the ball, it's because your wrist hasn't stored enough power. It feels like the wrist lacks strength. Do you want to learn how to store power? A lot of people, right? They take too long to store power. Their arms are too tense and stiff. When you do the backhand flick like this, when you're getting ready, you feel strong. But by the time you actually flick, you've lost power. See, no power here. See, no power here. What should you do? Before hitting, your wrist needs to be relaxed. Only when relaxed can you apply force. Watch. It's just a split-second feeling. Relax, then release power instantly. Now the power's there. Another common mistake is, when doing a backhand flick, here's Wenkai's trick. It can enhance your wrist's explosiveness. Remember, don't complete the full flick motion. If you complete it, there's no explosive power. Let me show you what I mean. What does completing it mean? Look, this is doing the full motion. This is like serving without breaking. A push-only serve lacks quality. Same with the backhand flick. Focus on controlling the ball and brushing forward, with the paddle head aimed straight ahead at the end, not up to the right. The paddle should finish facing your opponent. Look at Zhang Jike's backhand flick. He doesn't complete the motion like this. Remember, the bigger the motion, the less explosive power you'll have. Keep the motion small. As soon as you contact the ball, stop. Only do half the motion. Feel this. Contact the ball and stop.
停，停，停，停，停，停，停。
Don't complete the full
不能
motion.
做全了。
Contact and stop.
来，碰到球
Contact and
停
stop.
碰到球
Contact and stop.
停碰到球停。
By joining my membership, you can watch more than 10 videos in advance and access 30 professional tutorial videos by Fangbo. These videos cover everything from beginner basics to advanced techniques,
because it's possible for him to push it to your forehand area.
ensuring you'll find the skills you need. The cost ranges from $1 to $3, depending on your region. Thank you all for your support.